Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofermento. And you all already know, I'm super biased when it comes to which guests I so love and enjoy talking to. And it is for sure when we talk about all things marketing, and especially here in Q4 of 2025, I'd actually argue that marketing is one of the most disrupted industries when it comes to what AI is doing. But we've got two incredible guests for you here today, both of which believe that AI is one of our superpowers, and it can actually enable us to market in more effective ways because these guys, it's so clear to me that they are obsessed with getting the right businesses in front of the right customers at the right time so that we can serve people and grow our businesses. So let me introduce you to today's guests. Their names are Fran Bergeron and James Binda. Together, they are the co-founders of Digital Aspect Marketing, where their primary focus is in web development and SEO. Yes, search engine optimization, despite the AI so-called disruption, which they're definitely going to talk about that today. They also offer key digital marketing services, including graphic design, video editing, social media, blog articles, digital ads over Meta, Google, and Bing, and so much more. They're also offering more and more AI solutions and agents to help businesses become more efficient. So wherever you are, whatever your relationship is with marketing, you don't have a choice. You have to confront it. And I know that we're all going to be inspired and lit up by the message that both of our guests here today share, because having researched their business and their work as much as I have, you're going to love the way that they tackle this stuff in order to help your business grow. So I'm excited about this one. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Fran Bergeron and James Binda. All right, Fran, James, I am so excited that both of you are with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thanks for having us. This is awesome.
Heck yeah, you guys passed the first test. You didn't step all over each other when it came to whose turn it is to talk. So I'm going to kick it right back over. Fran, we'll start with you, and then James, over to you. Who are you guys? What's your backstories? How'd you guys start doing this stuff together? We're so excited for you to take us beyond the bios.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the intro. Well, James and I are actually brothers, and we kind of grew apart just because of work. At a certain point when we were younger, I think I was about 18 and I moved to Los Angeles. So we had been apart for quite a while there, and we kind of grew separate lives, very, very different lives. And it's kind of interesting how we ended up eventually like coming back together and forming this business of ours. So I kind of wanted to talk about that, But yeah, my name is Francois Bergeron. I'm Canadian. I grew up in Toronto. James is Canadian too. He'll tell you about himself. And we'll get into our little story there about how we kind of reunited and formed up this company.
Yeah, so as Fran said, I'm also from Toronto. And like he said, he moved away when I was really young, and somehow we ended up back together. But somehow we ended up being very similar people. It's almost like we're brothers. And It's cool. Like, I spent a lot of my life learning a lot of artistic things and doing design and photography and video, and really just getting very, very tech oriented. And that's what I really like to do. So it really complements well with what Fran does, which we'll talk more about. But that's basically who I am. And I still live in Toronto, whereas Fran is in the US now.
Yes, I love that. Well, Fran's clearly my favorite of the two brothers and founders because he is right down the road from me here in Florida. But with that said, both of you are obviously alluding to the fact that you do have an awesome origin story. And James, you called out, and I'm so excited to go there with you guys on the air. You called out the fact that you both bring different things to the table. And I think it's so cool, the fact that you guys have found that balance and you've brought that to the marketplace. So you've got to bring us to the origin story. How did Digital Aspect Marketing start?
Yeah, well,
let me. Here we go. We're stepping all over each other. Yeah. I'll just circle back to my it was kind of a short intro there, but when I moved to Los Angeles back when I was 18, it was actually for a work thing, and I was doing manufacturing, which is the furthest thing from marketing. It was like assembly line, straight up manufacturing. We did books and electronics and things like that. And I ended up being an assembly line kind of supervisor and organizing the hell out of everything and making sure everything is super efficient. So I learned a lot about policy, running a business, management, and making things efficient, time motion wise. So that was my forte and what I became very certain as, basically being like somewhat of an executive kind of personality in that sense. And then, so years went by, 16 years later, I moved back to Toronto and regrouped with James, who in the meantime had been working in design, like you mentioned, photography, and started to develop custom websites. And then we just decided that, well, our powers combined would create a pretty badass marketing agency. So here we are. But yeah, James, you want to tell more about what you learned in web development and whatnot?
Yeah. So, like I said, I did a lot of design and photography for different companies throughout like growing up. And like a few years before Fran came back to Toronto, I've been working with a marketing agency for like 4 or 5 years. And that's where I'd never built a website before, but I started with that company and really just learned the ropes for how to build a website. I had the design skill, but it just came to like, okay, how do I actually like develop this? How do I put this into reality? And so that's what I learned there, all the while picking up a lot of just general software, like just becoming really technical. Like, good, how do you bring a website live? How do you get a domain? Like all these different things. How do you set up emails? And learning a lot of the ropes of marketing and basically how to deliver just like a really good product on that, especially when it came to websites. So when Fran came along, it was like, we want to do something of our own. And it just was perfect because it was like, great, you can organize the hell out of it and I can make a really good product. So it was like, it really is just the perfect combination because I can just put my attention on like, good, how do I make this as best as possible? And then Fran's just helping like, good, you're having a hard time, you're getting overloaded, we got to do this. It's like, great, we hire this person, we do that. We streamline things so that it makes it easier for me to deliver. And then we get more people. And so it really is just like that perfect combo where we just excel together, just bounce off each other.
Yeah, I love that. Well, James, you brought up the term, so I'm going to go there with you guys while we're here together on the air. You talked about a marketing agency, and obviously we all know that people have different connotations and different experiences when it comes to traditional, I'll put it in air quotes, marketing agencies, because some of them have been burned by them. Some of them have had smoke blown up their behinds because marketing agencies promise the world and tell them, oh, you have to be. I remember back in the day when Gary Vee was saying, you have to be on Snapchat. You can't do marketing if you're not on Snapchat. I'm just like, all these trends and fads that come and go, and people get burned by all of these things, of course. And I know that you guys are very, very real when it comes to that term and the perception of it in the marketplace. So please, let's directly address the elephant in the room. What's the truth about marketing agencies, and why is that not a term that you guys necessarily want to be a part of because so much of the industry operates the way that it does? I'd love to hear those insights.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought it up. It's so funny because right before this meeting, I was telling James, I was like, when we're in the interview, I got to make sure I don't say marketing agency because I don't want to be associated with that term whatsoever. The first thing I said was marketing agency, so I apologize. I don't want to mislead anyone on that. Unfortunately, it's become a little bit of a, what do you call that? Like,
Stigma.
Yeah, stigma. Like the term, like it shouldn't mean anything negative. Marketing agency, like they're there to fulfill on marketing services and whatnot. But I think that what James and I have formed and our strength and like what we emphasize on the most is being as real as you can possibly be with the people you're working with. It's kind of like that Hippocratic oath that doctors and whatnot subscribe to, which is just knowing that you can actually help the person before you proceed with trying to operate on them or do anything for them whatsoever. I think that is just so important, is just to like understand the full scene and recommend things that really will help them and not do some one size fits all cookie cutter fake thing that is just like overly priced and basically just crush selling people on things that they just straight up don't need. This is something I feel very passionate about because I myself have been burned by this kind of situation. James and I both, and it's just I cannot emphasize the point enough that when you see some ad where somebody's standing in front of a Lambo and is like, "Oh, get rich overnight. This is the way you do it." These are all huge red flags, and I think the problem is people they want to believe it, so therefore that's what happens. So anyway, we steer clear of all that. That is all nonsense. We know that Rome was not built overnight, And it's just a matter of doing the correct thing and keeping your eye on the mountain and building it brick by brick with a very solid foundation. And that's what we do just with every single one of our clients, and they love us for it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And to add on to that is like, there's all these fads and these things that companies do, and like, oh, you got to do this now and you got to do that. And you absolutely have to do a funnel and this. And a lot of times they're right on certain points they're saying, but it becomes a fad where now everyone's got to do this. And one thing that I think we tend to do is we're more on a stable course of like, we don't just go, oh, we got to do that now. Oh, we got to do that now. Oh, we got to do that now. It's like, okay, good. We know this works. We're going to keep doing this well, and we'll test this and we'll test that. And a client comes along and says, hey, we want to do this. We're going to look at it and go, good. And look at your company and go, we really don't think that works. Or even we might say, we don't have experience doing that. We don't even feel comfortable delivering that. So we're not going to do that. Like I even had a meeting with a client a few days ago who wanted a custom thing built for their website. And I told them like, there are platforms built specifically for the purpose that you want. And I told them that straight up. I said, like, I would rather you actually go to something made for that. Right. And this is going back to how we're just real about things. And so I told him like, you should just use what's built to do that. Right. He wanted it to be all on his website anyway, so he still wants to go forward. But that just goes to like, we're not here to just sell you whatever we can. It's like, what's actually going to help you, and can we deliver it really well, right? And so that's the basis for, you know, our sales calls and how we go about delivering to people. It's like, what's really going to work, and all the fads and all that and all the stigma around agencies. And the last thing I'll say is, unfortunately, we get a lot of those clients that were burned. We're basically like we come around and pick up the pieces. Unfortunately, we're not at the forefront enough to catch the people before they spend $20,000 on a crappy website just to come to us to pay half the price for a way better website. So unfortunately, yeah, we're always picking up the pieces, it seems.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's so refreshing hearing the way both of you talk about this. Fran, you called out all the Lambo influencers, and there's no shortage of those. And that's why we're super picky about who we invite on the show. And obviously these are things that we so value about the way that the two of you operate. James, I want to build onto a point that you just made there, because the more that I mature as an entrepreneur, I'm 17 years into my entrepreneurial journey, but also just maturing in life. I've really come to embrace that the most successful people that I know, anytime I text them and I'm like, oh, what are you up to? What's new? One of my friends always says, same things, or different shirt, same thing. And so it's so interesting. Like every day he wakes up, he does the same thing, but he's just wearing a different shirt. And I think that that's so important, because we all went through that period in my early 20s. Man, I would map out the most complex whiteboarded funnels, and I was like, I'm going to build this and I'm going to build this. But then you realize, no, it's the fundamentals that we always come back to. And James, you talk about staying on that steady path, not reacting too much to the fads. We're definitely going to go somewhere there in this conversation today. But before we do, I want to point out that what I admire about your service offerings is that they are the fundamentals. No matter what, you got to have a website, and it has to be an effective website in 2025 and beyond. You've got to understand online advertising. You have to understand content, search engine optimization. What I appreciate about that is that you guys aren't that classic case of when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You guys aren't just out there saying the same thing. Talk to us about that varied approach, because I would imagine when a new client walks into your universe, you do take an objective look at their entire ecosystem and you diagnose, hey, here's what our plan of attack should be. What does that look like to figure out what a business needs?
Right.
Yeah, great question. I could jump on that real quick because I'm over the sales aspect of things. I do the organization, the administration, the sales, the invoicing, and all that. So a lot of the times the sales end up on my end. Now, I'll start by saying I'm not a salesman. I've never been a salesman. I wouldn't consider myself a salesman today. What I do when I approach any new potential client is I just be real with them and listen to what they're running into. What is the problem they're trying to solve? We have certain tools that will assess and see how things are going with their online presence. We can very easily recommend, how to fix those holes that are in their overall setup to make sure it's completely ideal. And I will just tell them, I'll shoot straight and just say, you need to do X, Y, Z, and that's going to help you a lot. And then we're going to go from there and basically just build up what would be the best plan of attack for them, just facts only. I do want to just say one other quick thing before I let James talk on this point as well. But I've always liked the idea. It would be very cute to have like one service that's like, let's say $700 a month, or I don't know, right? Something that you could just be like, oh, blanket sales. Let's just sell everyone this one thing. They need it. But like I said before, there's no one size fits all when it comes to this stuff. But what I have figured out is how to compartmentalize our services into not only what are the individual services we do, like social media, SEO, web development, blog articles, etc., running ads, Google ads, Facebook ads. Those are all very clear compartments, but also like how intense do we need to go on each one of those things. So I've compartmentalized all that. I've productified all of those things, and therefore when I'm talking to someone and working out what they need and figure out, okay, what kind of budget do they have, what's real for them to pay, et cetera, I really just put the care factor in on what combination of our off-the-shelf services can be tailored to what they do that will really just pull them out of the mud and really get them to start selling and doing well. So that's how that goes for me.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I was going to say basically exactly that. And I'll add to it, like, oftentimes Fran will be there doing a sales cycle with a client or a potential client, and he'll be like, James, what do you think would be best for this? And we kind of just go back and forth on it and go like, oh, well, I think, this is probably not going to perform very well. We'll do maybe a little bit of quick research and go, okay, yeah, they've got no keywords to rank for. Let's not go with that. Let's go with this. I think this is more like a PR campaign. And then really try to work it out like that. But to what you were saying is like, it is actually kind of hard to keep all the clients within the preset services, because everyone is so unique. Every company needs different things. But as best we can, we just try to go, okay, good. We have the fundamentals. So everyone's going to fall in there somewhere. And then from there is like, we've developed like, okay, good. We need a new service that handles this thing for this client. And then we'll start delivering that. We'll master that. And there are like even times in the past where we'll have a client come on and we'll say, great, get this service and that service. And we get started with that. Like we had one that was like a wellness clinic, but they also sell our products online. They have a supplement store and they have like affiliate links and all these things. And it came to a point after we started with them that I was like, oh man, what we scoped really doesn't make any sense anymore. Like the service we're delivering is so different from what we originally sold. So then we kind of modify it a little bit for that client, and we just move with them, because really what we want is for our clients to expand with us to where we have to keep doing more for them, and we have to keep changing our service to do more and to help them expand and go into new avenues. And so that's kind of like our approach to any client. Is like, good, what's going to work for you right now, and do our best to fit it within our services, and then just expand with them basically.
Yeah, I love that approach from both of you. And it is really cool hearing about the collaboration behind the scenes between the two of you when it is you're navigating a prospective client project. Well, I want to come back to something that James threw out there, which is, of course, fads. And fads, I'd say they're more present in marketing than most other fields. Like there's no real fads when it comes to the way we keep our books within business. There's no real fads within the way that, we do certain things in our business, but everyone always wants to point out fads in marketing. And one of those things that maybe people pretended was going to be a fad was the way that AI is embedded into our marketing activities. Now, obviously, it's just becoming a way of life. And it's so clear to me that you two are staying on top of that and really embedding it into the way that you serve your clients. What's the AI side of the world doing within the world of marketing?
Good. Well, I could probably say a little thing on this.
Go ahead.
I mean, first of all, just in terms of the fads, just because as the tech person who has to deal with a lot of clients, this is what I like to talk about, is like the fads that started when AI came about was, some of them were good and it was like, great, AI is going to be put into everything and that's what we're working on. But there was a lot of like, great, now we have to change everything on our website for AI and this and that, and add all these things and add all this structured data and things on the back end. I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. Okay, just Google has not completely changed the way that they read websites yet, right? And all AI really did is make Google better at understanding websites, right? So that goes to one thing that I think we excel at is we're not there pumping your website full of like keyword stuffing and like trying to just add a bunch of pages and like everything's on the tech side. We really just make a useful website that now has really come in handy because AI has come along, and AI will read your website and much better understand what it is. And so that has actually helped us a lot, where our sites have recently started ranking a lot higher because AI did a whole algorithm change recently. And since that, they've all started to come up because we put in the efforts to just making useful content. And so I go back to what I was saying is like, a lot of people got this idea with all this AI that there's so many things immediately changing with these massive companies. Meanwhile, Google hasn't said a thing, and they're like, keep doing what you're doing. We care about quality websites, right? And a lot of what we do in the back end is the same as it ever was. It's just they use AI now to better understand what you're doing and what your website is. So anyway, that's one thing I want to say on the AI. And then other than that, it's like a big thing that we've started doing is like everything we do is we're trying to integrate AI into it, into making it more efficient, into one great example is like I, as a designer, all right, we've hired a designer now, but I still design here and there. Is like I'm constantly using generative AI to generate images and expand images and edit videos and edit audio and all those things. Like I find AI has just become such a tool that unlocks new avenues for people, because there are some companies who don't have photos, they don't have videos, they don't have content, and the AI allows you to go in down that without sitting there waiting for the client to get images of their staff or to get all these things. Like you can start creating without having that up front. So really, it's like I feel like AI is just the tools to kind of leap you forward a lot faster. And I forgot what the original question was, but I'm going to turn it over to Fran now.
Yeah, well, I think what you said, James, is almost exactly what I wanted to say on the topic. So that was really well covered. What I will do is just kind of summarize, because I want to make sure all the listeners heard this particular point. A really key takeaway from what James just said is that if your website is built properly and has valuable information, that's really important. It's valuable information. It is true. It is helpful. It's not stuffed with a bunch of keywords, some nonsense, bunch of crap. But it's like it speaks to whatever the company is trying to communicate and what services they offer. If it's built well and structured well, AI is now going to know better than ever that it's the valid search result for what people are looking for. And again, what James was saying there, and I want to make sure people know, is like out of all of our websites, I think we host like over 100 websites. I don't know of any of our websites that went down in ranking as a result of all the AI. If anything, AI is helping people get a more genuine experience of finding what they're actually looking for. And our clients' websites have all moved up in ranks as a result of AI, which for us, it's just making the search algorithms a little bit closer to human and a little bit closer to what people actually need and want, which to us is like a beautiful thing. So we just will keep punching that harder and harder and making sure that we're providing services with what we do. And then to that point on making things more efficient, exactly what James said is just like lacing all of our services and software with AI, becoming more efficient, and being able to offer that to our clients, which is something if we have time for it in this interview, I'd like to make a small announcement about something that we're releasing to that end, like software platform of our own. But yeah, we want to have it be that AI is available across all channels and helps us, get stuff done, be more efficient, that kind of thing.
Heck yeah. Fran, you can't tease a podcast host with an almost announcement like that. So we're going to go right back to that. But first, I just want to interject as well, because I'm glad that you re-emphasize and echo James's point there, is that we've seen behind the scenes. It's been such a funny thing for me, because a lot of the headlines and social media posts, and I'm sure you guys laugh at this too, everyone says SEO is dead. And I've been an entrepreneur for 17 years. I've seen people say email marketing is dead. I've seen people claim all these different things are dead, and they continue to be the things that are working the best. And it's been so funny for me over the past few years. My biggest complaint about podcasting as a medium is that nobody goes to a podcast's website. We work so hard to have podcast websites and nobody visits it. And now all of a sudden we're getting more organic traffic than ever before in an era where people claim that SEO is dead. So yeah, I love these points that you guys are really making and emphasizing here. The other thing I want to call out before, Fran, I want to go back to you teasing that announcement, because software is so important and it's important for us to know the powers of it. But before we go there, I just want to emphasize a point that both of you made, which is I love seeing business owners step into and embrace the fact that you guys use AI, because actually for me as a consumer, if someone brags to me, oh, we don't use AI, I think to myself, why not? You are doing things the hard way. I also want you to do better service for me. AI is a tool. And Fran, I think about your manufacturing background. I can't imagine a manufacturing process being like, oh no, we don't use machinery. We do everything by hands. Like, come on, how crazy are you? So sorry, I just wanted to interject that for our audience as well. But let's kick it back. Software is important. Marketing and tools can unlock so much in our businesses. So what are you guys cooking up on your end?
First of all, that was a fantastic analogy on the machines. That's exactly accurate. It's like, how stupid would we be if we wouldn't use a machine that would bind our books for us, or, assemble our electronics and whatnot. It's just insane. So, that technology is available to us, and we want to leverage it every way we can. And so we've been cooking up something. Oh, actually, sorry. I did want to also comment on another thing you said there, Brian, which is the SEO is dead. I just can't wait. I actually think about this myself. I want to make like my own meme that's like saying something is dead is now dead. Like that, like just kind of flip that on its belly or on its back, because it's the whole like trying to get the clicks by saying something is dead is just the most. They're just trigger words that are trying to get people like elicit a reaction, right? I just feel like it's, even as a marketer, like I understand the purpose behind it, but it's just so. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels not genuine to kind of lie to people and like give something so just sensationalized and untrue. If anything, SEO is more alive than ever and more pertinent than ever. It's just using more modern technology. That's all it is, and we love it, right? But yeah, so I could speak to the new plans we have on the software. But before I get into that, or maybe James, if you want to take over, you can.
You go. Okay. First, and then you can hand it back.
So fast story on that. So over the years that we've been working together, James and I, we've been kind of looking for and seeking out the best softwares. Obviously, in marketing these days, you need really, really good software that handles so many different aspects of what you do in marketing, right? Email marketing, social media posts. Anyway, I could go down the list, but I'm sure everyone knows. So trying to find a platform that does everything is basically impossible. We've tried many platforms, and a lot of them, they do one thing super well, but then they're really weak on another thing. And so then you have to do some Zapier connections, and it gets super messy. And it's like, sure, that's why we're here. We can help companies deal with that stuff. But it always came back to me as like, why isn't there one platform that does everything? So that's kind of what I've been working on, while James continues to, oversee client delivery and making sure all of our clients are happy. He's also been helping me with the technicalities of like, what do we need to do to make an all-in-one, really high-quality platform that truly does everything, including embedding in AI and all that stuff. So anyway, we're launching it this month. It just happens that this podcast landed on the month that we're launching it. And so by the time the listeners get this episode, we're already going to have it live. It is called Keystone. So that's our software, Keystone by Digital Aspect. The website will be usekeystone.io. And it really will be like a Swiss Army knife of software solutions for business owners. So we're really excited about that. And I don't know if you want me to go into more details, Brian, but I feel like I might not have enough time. Just know that it's everything you dreamed of.
Well, I'll tell you guys what, already in this conversation, I'm just like, time flies by way too fast in the grand scheme of podcasting. I already know that we're going to have you guys back on the show 100%. And I love the fact that you're putting a firm deadline out to the world, because we are adding that link down below in the show notes. So listeners, we're going to get back to links in just a few minutes. But before we get there, I want to jump in because I do want to put each of you on the spot here today. It's a question that I ask at the end of every episode. And today we don't just get one piece of advice, we get two pieces of advice because there's two of you here. But that question that I always ask is, what's your best piece of advice for listeners? Knowing that we're being listened to by both entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs at all different stages of their own growth journeys, and also knowing very much you two are one of us. You are fellow entrepreneurs as well. What's that piece of advice that you want to leave them with? Because I'm so excited for them to start checking out all the cool things that you guys are up to, but you've also dropped so many nuggets of knowledge mindset-wise, not chasing fads, sticking to those foundations. So I'm going to put you on the spot. It's especially difficult for whoever goes first, so figure out which of the two of you wants to jump in first with your piece of advice.
Well, you can go first, Fran, because we talked a little bit about this, but just steal all the good ones, okay?
Yeah, no worries. I think that, okay, so to answer that, Brian, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with something that is just, it's so ridiculously stupid sounding. And I'm going to sound like, duh, like anyone hearing this might be like, okay, this is stating the obvious. But it really, the amount of lessons that I've had on this, and I'm sure James would agree, is pretty ridiculous. And it always comes back to this. First, what are you doing or providing or producing that is going to help someone? What is it about you that you're doing that is actually deserving of somebody else's money? It's not all about money, but the main point is like, what are you producing that is going to help, right? That thing should help someone and be valuable. So that's the first step, is like figuring out what you're going to put out there and ask for exchange. Ask money for an exchange. That is so critical. And then once you have that and start selling it or putting it out there and making it available to people, making sure it's helping people and actually, is a valuable product or service, then it's a matter of not stopping. And those are the two things: a great service or product, and then not stopping. So no matter what you run into, all the noise, all the Lambos and the get rich quick overnight, like all these very inviting, just whatever, different temptations or whatever, just tune it out, put your headphones on, keep going, and over time it will happen. It's like a mathematical fact that you will end up on top if you're providing a good service and you don't stop. That's my big lesson that I'd like to impart.
Yeah, I'll add to that. That's exactly it, is like, you just got to keep going. And from my perspective as really being like delivering and dealing with clients a lot directly, from small things to large projects, is like, just deliver a good product and you will get more, right? Like, we as a company, in 3 years, we just recently had our 3rd anniversary, we've never run a single ad for ourselves. We barely even do our social media. This is like the first thing we do that's like real. Otherwise we do dumb little posts. But otherwise, I mean, regardless of that, we've had clients. Like, we're actually expanding as a company. The stats only keep going up. And that's just because we just keep delivering good services, and we get referrals, and we can talk to someone, and we feel good selling what we're selling because we know we're delivering a good product. And so that helps with sales. That helps with people delivering the service. It helps with people referring. And to add to that point is like, from me, is like, good, how do I keep doing that? Is just keep learning, like, all the time. Like, I've got books on my bookshelf over here on design, on management, on different things. Like, all the time I'll refer to it and just keep learning new things, or I'll read articles, or I'm subscribed to newsletters. And, sometimes it's like, oh, now I have to do a whole email campaign. And I realize I have no idea how to do it. I was like, great, I got to learn that. And I'll go and I'll learn it, right? Everything short of like hiring someone to do it for you. If you got to do it, learn how to do it right, and deliver a good product, and just keep doing that and keep growing what your abilities are. And then eventually you hire people to take on those who hopefully know even better how to do that thing than you do. And yeah, you'll just keep growing. And like Fran said, you just keep going at it, and you'll inevitably grow, because that's just what happens.
Boom. I love that advice from the two of you, especially when taken in tandem. I feel like anyone can rip this podcast episode, plug it into AI, have it spit out an entire playbook that the two of you literally just mapped out for us in real time. So super powerful advice. You've also teased, Fran, you obviously teased your link just there, but for listeners who are on the go, I don't want them to forget any of the links or calls to action that you guys have for if they want to find you, continue the conversation. You guys clearly love what you do, and I'm such a big fan of the way that both of you operate. So drop those links on us. For listeners who want to find you online, where should they go from here?
Yeah, so use keystone.io for our software solutions, and then digitalaspect.io for our company as, not a marketing agency, but more like a marketing firm or company, or, marketing services.
Yes, I love that. Go ahead, James.
When you go to our website, you find that portfolio, because I'm very proud of all the websites that are there, and you browse through those and you're going to love what we have on there, because they're just awesome.
Yes. Ooh, James, bring in receipts. That's the most powerful way to show the impact and the power of the work that we do. So, listeners, I always say success leaves clues. If you want to see why these two guys are as awesome as they are, go check out those links. We're dropping all of them down below in the show notes, no matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode. Also, this episode's being released on Halloween, so we have a very firm deadline as to when James and Fran had to get that software website live. So, see if they met that deadline. Check out the links in the show notes. Otherwise, Fran, James, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having us, and happy Halloween.